we were talking about your amazing journey and that you've been writing about in your books lately, because you grew up in the Bronx, then moved to California for the quote action. You worked in the film industry, and now you're back. So, which I guess before we get into everything here at Bionic Buzz, we're all about people's passion. Where did your passion for filmmaking, storytelling kind of come from that led you to get into industry back in the day?
You know, I enjoy reading a lot. And I remember a lot of the books that I was reading, many of them were turned into film or TV shows, etc. And, while in high school, I said, geez, I would like to write someday and put this on film. I mean, it's just a dream again. And I've been a dreamer all my life, Stephen. So
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah. So, what I've done throughout my career is like every 5 years after, since I was about 15 years old, my mom told me, Rafael, the way out of this poverty here is by education. So make sure you educate yourself because, sweetheart, I can't help you. So all I wanted was to the first grade and that's it. But, I will help you, pushing you, she said. So basically, since that time, I started putting down on paper, where would I be 5 years from now? What would I like to be? What would I like to do? How do I get there? And the way that every time I did that, Stephen, is the fact that each time it required some sort of education, or maybe a mentor, or someone in the family who I could speak to. And so I was very fortunate at an early age to have this wonderful mentor who was a comic it was called in those days the Jewish Mountains up in the Catskills back in the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of gave me that impetus to move forward in my dreams and find a way to get there.
I love that. And you kind of talk about that in your one book, Dream Chaser, which talks about you growing up from Puerto Rico to the Port Hollywood Hills, growing up in the South Bronx. I assume the Bronx is way different now as when you growing up.
Oh, man, very different. Yeah. When I was there, it was literally like if it wasn't a bombing, you know what I mean? Because everything was all over the place, and it was horrible. But I became an avid activist, and I worked for congressmen and assemblymen and senators to try to connect the neighborhood with the political people that could bring in some resources. And so that was basically my passion at that time. How do I help my community? After I finished college, I said to myself, I got to do stuff for myself now. So I decided at college that I would be involved in finance because as a young kid, my mom had a restaurant and I was the guy who kept the books and did the dishwashing and cooking, etc. But I was very good at the numbers, so my mom always said, you concentrate on those numbers. So everything basically that we do, especially in the entertainment business, is about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Right after college, I went to work for a small accounting firm whose senior partners were ex-Price Waterhouse partners who went on their own. They hired me. They decided 2 years later to retire, and they then put me in contact with Price Waterhouse. I was there for about 3 years, and I love what they did. They asked me, what do you want to do? I said, look, I love people. I like the interaction with people. I either want to do something in advertising, entertainment, or the brokerage business. Mm-hmm. So they said, well, we've got a couple of nice little companies here in entertainment. Would you like to interview? So I interviewed with a small firm that was ready to go. The chairman of the company had major plans his visions were I was out there. And hey, it was his dream. And I said to myself, okay, let me see about his dream. And I joined the company. We were making about, at that time, gross sales, it was about 2 million. 10
Oh,
years
wow.
later, after I left, it was 500 million.
Woo.
Half a billion dollars. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I joined that company in 1970, the decade of the 70s, which I write about, in fact, I started the Business of Showbiz in 1970, there was so much happening around the world. There was a communist influx of things were happening. There was a lot of unrest, you know. So I decided that the first thing that we needed to do is to take this small company and find ways to expand, through mergers and acquisitions. And we were limited because of the monopoly laws. We couldn't own companies that were monopolistic, if you will. So we found companies that were not, and we were able to grow the company to a point where we were able to, in my writings, we then said, okay, how do I make this company go public? So sell stock to the public and, you know, and share. So I said, look, why don't we play with the numbers? They asked me, play with the numbers. You see, yeah, everyone plays with numbers. So I write about how I played with the numbers and was able to then come to a position where we could go public. But as you know, going public is a very, very expensive proposition, extremely expensive. Underwriting. Yes. The underwriting is very heavy. So what I did, I said, look, why don't we find a small company that's traded on what's called the over-the-counter, what was called in those days the pink sheets, over-the-counter stocks, which are penny stocks, dollar stocks. We found a company that was in the same business as we were. So we went ahead and merged the companies together, and we became a public corporation, changed the name.
Wow.
Yeah, the company was called Creative Management Associates, CMA. We were IFA, International Creative Management. So we changed the name to International Creative Management, combined the two companies. And that talent agency became a super, super giant. In fact, it was so big that we had to break it down into various different departments and try to, you know, make it work, and which we did. So in the 70s, right after we went public, we decided that we need to bring all the people together. So we took an office space on 57th Street and 6th Avenue. There was a new building called the Squibb Building. And the Squibb Building had about 40 floors. We were on the 18th and the 6th floor. When we put it together, on the 18th floor, there was a major electrical fire which burned
the Inferno, as you talk about in the book.
You got it. You got it. The Tower Inferno. Oh, and it's funny because at the same time, we had just made a deal, and I mean, not just, we had made a deal previously for a movie called The Towering Inferno.
Oh, no way. Oh.
So wow. the media had a fabulous time up, you know, putting ICM is the new Tower in Inferno, and it was just an amazing experience. Very scary, very scary.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
But we survived it. But 6 months later, I get asked by the chairman of the board, come and meet him in the boardroom because he had someone he wanted me to meet. So I go to the boardroom, and there's a strange-looking character, this man, and he says to me, his name is Marvin Josephson. Marvin says to me, I want you to meet Steve McQueen. I said, what?
Is this when he took him car shopping?
Yes. Yes, wow. I did. And I took him car shopping, and we found the car from Bullet. He was peed off because he wanted to buy the car from the studio he drove in the movie. The studio refused to sell it to him. So that's why he says, I'm going to buy one. So anyway, we had a great summer and learned a lot about, you know, his life and what he was doing. He was not a happy camper with Hollywood. He says they're too much in control of my life.
Hmm.
And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience with this famous actor. But today,
Yeah.
it was a
And
great experience.
all this is in your new book, and you also have
Yes,
photos that go along with it too. You kind of document.
absolutely, absolutely. I have a photo of him
Mhm.
in his getup for the new film that he was, with the long hair. It was an Henry Ibsen film. Forget the title right now. And anyway, it was wonderful. Right after that, there was the Olympic Games in Montreal were taking place. We had a strategic meeting because we felt that maybe we could go to Montreal, speak to the organizers there, and say, hey, look, we could make a major deal for you with the network television. Sure enough, we signed a deal and we made this fantastic multi-million-dollar deal for the network to broadcast the games. In
Oh,
return, the mayor of Montreal gave me a 3-week trip to the Olympics before and after with my family, all expenses paid. We went to all the games. It was a fun time of my
wow,
life. My kids loved it. My kids
that's
enjoyed it.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Montreal is such a beautiful city too. I
Oh,
can
yeah.
imagine what it was
Oh,
during the Olympics.
fabulous, fabulous. Yeah. Um, you know, the next thing that I write about, there was a very, very threatening situation. What happened is that I wanted to bring the culture of many countries to the U.S. and in return we would take our culture, our music to all these countries. We
Hmm.
did. I did with what's called the Peking Opera. Now it's called Beijing. The Peking Opera we brought in from China. We went to Russia, Czechoslovakia, all those countries, and brought in music. And then in return, we would take our music to them. My passion was always to go to Cuba because I love music. I was a kid. I was a musician,
Oh,
and
cool. What did you play? What do you
I used
mean?
to play trumpet. I played
Oh,
trumpet.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I
used to
was
be
a
a
trumpet
drummer,
player.
so
Yeah. So you understand
yeah,
the
yeah,
passion for music. Yeah.
yeah.
And so what happened was that I said to the chairman, look, I want to go to Cuba, but I can't get there. But I have a friend who's in Washington, D.C., who's a congressman. His name was Robert Garcia. I called Bobby Garcia. I said, Bobby, can you help me here? I want to go to Cuba and all these communist countries and do a cultural exchange program. Bobby said, what a terrific idea. Takes me to the State Department. The State Department gives us the licenses and the authority. I go to Cuba, and it's all run by the Russians. And I find that the Cubans don't like the Russians. Okay.
Yeah.
So, in any case, they take me around to see about their music and then their dancing, etc. And I said, okay, we will come here first and bring our music. So I took in country music, for example, Chris Christopherson and Rita Coolidge. We took down a Latin a band called the Fania All Stars. Then we took in Herbie Hancock and Dexter Gordon.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
we put together major jazz. We got it with CBS Records, Columbia Records, CBS. We put together this fabulous jazz group. Anyway, we took this to the Karl Marx Theater in Havana, and it was a super, super success. They made albums out of it. There was documentaries made. It was all over the world in all of the newspapers.
Nice.
Now it was our turn to go to Cuba and bring music from Cuba and culture to the United States.
Hmm.
I went ahead and made a deal with Avery Fisher Hall Lincoln Center. I'm sure you know it.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
very famous.
And it was planned for the end of 1979. We started December 28th, I believe it was. It was the first concert. It was the 28th, 29th, and 30th. And the 31st, it would be New Year's Eve, we would celebrate. On Thursday, the concert, Stephen, was a super success, super success. I thought we were going to make over $100,000, that night. While we're having dinner, because we took the team, to Sardi's in the Manhattan to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
I get a call from one of my friends who's a journalist, and he says to me, Ralph, they just blew up Lincoln Center, David Fisher Hall. They just put a bomb in your office, and luckily it didn't go off. And they put a bomb in the Cuban mission, and luckily it only blew the front door open. And I said, "Oh my God,
Oh
oh
my
my
God.
God!"
Whoa.
I got so scared, Steve, so scared.
Yeah. Oh.
We called the FBI and the CIA, and then I got these threatening letters. If you continue this, we will destroy you and your family. So the FBI says, we think you should stop doing this because it's
Oh.
gonna be
So
very
who was behind it? The Russians or?
No, it was in New Jersey. There was a group called Omega 7. It was an anti-Castro group that
Oh,
hated anyone who did business with Castro, and they
gosh.
blew up. I mean, they did a lot of terrorist activities in this area during
Mm-hmm.
that time. So after that episode, I got an offer to go to Hollywood, and I says, Hollywood, here I come.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that's what the book is really all about.
Wow.
I also read about the art of movie making, movie packaging,
Mhm.
because in the entertainment business, um, the business of show business is very, very difficult to understand unless you're one of the players who's in the inside.
Mhm.
Luckily, I was able to get into the inside, and I learned how to package films. For example, the movie Jaws. Remember Steven
Oh
Spielberg?
yeah.
Yeah. We've represented the author, Peter Benchley. We represented Steven Spielberg. We represented the actors, and I mean, all the writers and everything. So we were able to put the package together and bring it to the studio, and the movie was made. And we did that a lot, because we were able to have all those elements
Mhm.
together to make it happen.
You also worked with Full Metal Jacket, Dirty Dancing, right?
Yeah,
But
yes, I did. Actually, for Full Metal Jacket, what I did was the
mhm.
marketing,
Or
because uh, it was a film that had
it
some
was,
Latinos in it.
yeah, it was kind of controversial at the time, right?
Very
Yeah. Yeah.
very controversial.
Yeah.
And I was asked by Warner Brothers, could I come up with a project, and came up with this marketing project. And
Mhm.
the film became a super success within the
Yeah.
Latino community, and the general public also.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
But beyond that, I did 5 years with Stan Lee doing
Yeah,
Spiderman,
I was
Iron
gonna
Man,
ask that
Fantastic
next
Four.
actually, because
Uh-huh.
I'm a huge Marvel fan, and
Are you really? Are you?
yeah, the animated stuff in the '90s, which you worked on, Spider-Man, Fantastic
Yeah,
Four, Iron Man, so good. What was it
yeah.
like working with Stanley and when
Let me tell you,
classics?
it was a pleasure. I learned so much, Steve, so much from this old man.
Yeah.
He had this creative head that he needed 5 or 6 people around him all the time, and we had the conference because he came up with ideas, and everybody put the ideas down. But he was kind,
Mhm.
and he says to me, "Look, you have something in you, and what we're going to do is you're going to be the guy who's going to cast all the voices for the
Wow.
shows." So I said, "Well," he says, "Yeah." And then he taught me how to do it. And then my partner, who was a director, we would do the show as if it were a 1940s radio show where you have 10, 20 mics, and everybody would react, and there was interaction with each other. I'm sure
Yeah,
you know
they
the
don't really do that
process.
anymore. It's all recorded
No,
separate. So yeah.
exactly. But you get the best response when you have all these folks together.
Hmm. Well, you had amazing cast in that. I mean,
Oh man, it was a fabulous cast. Austin Green, um, Ed Asner. I mean, it was just an
you
unbelievable.
the great Mark Hamill did the Hobgoblin, which I
Yep,
love.
yep, yeah, and it was a fantastic experience. Um, I think that it was probably the highlight of my life, working with all these wonderful actors, and being in the studio, making sure that the pickups were right, and it was just fun. Lots of fun and lots of learning.
Very cool. Yeah, I love all of those. You did an amazing job getting the cast together. So
Yeah,
bravo.
yeah.
All right, so we're kind of running out of time. So
Okay, babe.
where can people get this book? It's also
Okay.
nominated for a
It's nominated for the International Latino Book Awards in Los Angeles, and it's nominated for the best business career book of the year. I'm already a winner, but what they do is they put the award. They have a gold, silver, and bronze. You know, so we'll see what medal I'm going to get.
I'll be really shocked if you don't get gold. I mean, what amazing story. It all goes back to education for you. You're kind of educating through this
That's
book,
it.
right?
That's it. That's it. Steve, that is the key.
Yeah.
Educate. Remember, you have a dream, go for it. Okay, but make sure that you know how to get there. Make sure you get the right people behind you. The lingo, learn the lingo of an industry. Okay, you know, learn what, for example, a grip is. Well, you and I know what a grip is, but most people don't know what a grip. I mean, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So education is the key. Okay, and you know, my advice to young, aspiring either writers, producers, whatever, okay, is put your dreams down and go with passion after the dream and confidence, passion and confidence.
Very wise words. Is there a website people can stay up to date?
Yes,
Buy the
my website is Terramax, TERRAMAX, ENT, terramaxentertainment.com, TERRAMAX, ENT.com. And the book is also available on Amazon. But I have all my other works on the Terramax Entertainment website.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. What an amazing
Thank
life.
you.
We'll
Thank you
talk
for
down
your
the road.
time.
All right.
Gracias. Gracias.
Take care, my friend.
Okay, man. Thanks.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Please support this video by giving it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and hit that subscribe button while you're down there. Thank you so much.